Guns on college campuses. Anti-gun activists argue that concealed firearms on campus are basically dangerous. There are many scenarios and concerns within this paper that I will explain, but due to the uproar of many violent crimes on college campuses, pro-gun activists are suggesting that both students and teachers be allowed to carry a concealed handgun on campus. The shootings at Virginia Tech and Northern Illinois both have one thing in common. Armed students came in and shot their own unarmed classmates. Some argue that concealed weapons should not be allowed on campuses for many reasons. E. Floyd Phelps, a retired director of fire safety at SMU, argues that even though teachers deal with students on a regular basis, they are as qualified as police officers to carry a handgun. However, police officers are trained in handling situations when a firearm is needed. Some argue that police officers do not try and teach a college class, so why would a teacher carry a gun? In Pearl Miss, a student killed his mother and then went to the school and began shooting students. The vice principal heard the shots and went to his truck and got his shotgun. He confronted the shooter and was able to stop his rampage without firing a shot. The shooter was held down to the ground until authorities arrived. Only 2 students died that day. Had the vice principal not had his gun on campus, more deaths would have occurred. Another point that anti-gun activists bring up is the proper storage of a firearm. In California, a student entered a classroom with a gun in his bag. He dropped the bag on the floor, and the gun went off, hitting another student in the back on accident. Had his weapon had the safety on, this would not have happened. They say, what if a student is planning an attack and they know that concealed weapons are permitted? They will get heavier artillery to carry out their attack. What if a police officer shows up to the scene and everyone has a gun? How will they know which person is the actual shooter? Emotions are a huge concern for a student with a firearm or even student suicide. Baker of the Wisconsin Concealed Carry Association dismisses these arguments due to the fact that the shooter does not know who has a weapon, and this would act as a deterrent. He also says that people who carry a concealed weapon must have training, which means if a police officer comes to the scene, those who are carrying a concealed weapon immediately put their firearm down and hold up their hands stating they have a permit. The training that an individual receives is a crucial part of the education to get a concealed handgun license. This training teaches a person when to use or not to use a gun. Why would a person who is sane enough to be allowed to carry a gun in a store or stadium suddenly become irrational when they step foot on a college campus? The one thing that both sides agree on is that schools who allow concealed weapons must make sure those individuals have extensive training. I believe it is necessary to not only have the state requirement, but add some psychological testing, and that police and school officials are on the same page when it comes to armed students. Due to the uproar of many violent crimes on college campuses, I firmly believe that it is my right and my protection is at stake without the right to bear arms. The Second Amendment to the Constitution recognizes the right to bear arms. This is a natural right under the theory of democratic law. There is much controversy over exactly how to interpret this amendment. What exactly does this mean? The right to bear arms is the people's right to possess arms for their own defense. What does the Constitution say about the right to bear arms? The Second Amendment to the Constitution says a well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. The right to keep and bear arms in the United States is a fundamental right protected by the Second Amendment to the United States Constitution, part of the Bill of Rights, and by the Constitution of most U.S. states. The issue of gun control has been going on for as long as I can remember. My grandfather is a retired narcotics agent, and growing up, I just thought it was normal for guns to be a part of everyday life. When my mom was young, he would put his guns on, put his jacket on over, give her a kiss, and walk out the door. She grew up riding in the car with a gun in between her and my grandfather. My mom has always told me, didn't every dad put his guns on before he went to work? My other grandfather on my dad's side is an advocate for conceal and carry, as well as my great aunt. They are very aware and knowledgeable of their rights and feel that, especially in this day and age, protection and exercising your rights is very important. In researching this topic, I found that the first rule of gun safety is owning a gun. Having a gun at school, especially if I live on campus, will allow me to sleep better at night knowing I can protect myself. Danger is out there, and being able to confront it head on and maybe deter an assailant without using the gun gives me peace of mind. When a college student has a concealed handgun, this means that they have the proper training and license to handle a gun in critical situations. In this day and age when the government is trying to infringe on our rights, it is very important to exercise my rights and my freedom to protect myself. There is a national group, Students for Concealed Carry, and they are calling for the rights for students to have a concealed weapon. It would mean a college student could carry in a bag, but not in a holster. They argue that your rights should not change as soon as a person walks on campus. This group was formed by over 30,000 students and faculty after the Virginia Tech shootings. One of my arguments to carry a concealed weapon on college campus is due to the violence against women that occur. My sister went to Texas State University for her first semester in college, and during this time, there were 4 sexual assaults in the parking lot of her apartment, which is part of the Texas State housing community. She and her roommate slept with their living room chair in front of their door on top of locking all 3 locks. This is the crime that is punishable by both civil and criminal action. They lived scared for a whole semester, and now she is thinking about getting her concealed handgun license. The girl that my mom works with, she just graduated from UT, is going through a stalking issue with her best friend. Her friend broke up with this guy, and now he will not leave her alone. He shows up at her place in the middle of the night and knocks on her door and her windows. He leaves notes on her doorsteps and flowers and follows her wherever she goes. If they go to the club, he shows up. If they go to the mall, he shows up. She has had to get a restraining order against him and call the police every time he shows up to make a case against him. Walking to and from class on campus is terrifying for her, and she does not have a license to carry. My mom told her to tell her friend to get one immediately. Another type of violence that is common in college is domestic, dating, and intimate partner violence. The pattern of behavior in a relationship that leads to a partner gaining power, whether it be sexual, psychological, or violent. If a person that is involved in a relationship and their partner knew they have a license to carry, this would deter a person from trying any type of domestic abuse without the carrier even showing their gun. So many incidents would be alleviated with just the knowing people have the license to carry. Research has shown that more guns does not equal more violence. Violent crimes have decreased over the last 40 years, while the number of gun owners has increased. We can agree that there are many arguments for both sides of this topic. However, when it comes to my safety at school, there are a number of reasons I should be allowed to carry. Campus police cannot be everywhere, and a person with a concealed weapon can intervene. So many people feel that a gun-free one is a safe zone. In my opinion, this is a huge target on my back for those that want to get back at the world and punish anyone and everyone. In college, chemistry majors are learning how to create explosive. This is just as dangerous as a concealed handgun. Some people say that guns have nothing to do with learning, but in my eyes, it would help students concentrate and feel more relaxed in this type of learning environment, knowing they are protected at all times. Bottom line is, my right to bear arms and to protect myself from predators while at college is just that, my right.